Have you ever looked into her eyes and felt a storm you couldn't name? A sweetness that blurred your caution? A gaze that made you forget the sharpness of your own sword? Brother, this isn't poetry. It's architecture. There exists a realm of understanding that modern man has discarded, not because it's untrue, but because it's too demanding. Socrates did not shy away from this realm, he entered it. And what he uncovered wasn't a condemnation of women, but a truth about them that continues to haunt the male soul. His warning was not born of bitterness, but of clarity honed in fire. Men are forged through definition, women emerge through layers of enigma. He spoke not to diminish, but to awaken. For what is hidden must not be blindly trusted, and what captivates must first be understood, or it will consume you. The Athenians mocked him. The jurors sentenced him. But Socrates smiled, for he understood, a man who sees a woman only as she appears, and not as she operates, is like a warrior seduced by the gleam of his enemy's blade, dazzling, but deadly. Socrates taught through questions. Ask yourself. Why does she seek influence in the unseen? Why does affection often come mixed with strategy? Why does her silence reveal more than her speech? If you do not ask, you will not see. And if you do not see, you will bow, not in reverence, but in illusion. In the Republic, Socrates defined the just soul, one ruled by reason, not by hunger or impulse. But what happens to a man who centers his life on a woman he does not understand? He isn't forging a soul, he's erecting a monument to confusion. Socrates described the tyrant's soul, driven by desire, restless, always grasping. How many men today wear the mask of logic, but are slaves to the need for feminine validation? How many build empires not for vision, but to impress a woman who disappears when the walls crack? Understand this, Socrates was not warning you about her. He was warning you about you. When you don't grasp her nature, she isn't your enemy or your savior. She is your trial. And every man must face it, or collapse under the weight of his fantasies. You were taught to pursue beauty. But Socrates knew, beauty is the snare. What matters is the intent behind it. And here is where men fail. You chase her shape, not her substance. You seek her touch, not her pattern. You don't examine. You submit. And when you fall, she doesn't catch you, not out of cruelty, but design. She selects. She tests. She adapts. But she does not build. That's your task. Your curse, and your crown. A man, Socrates said, must examine his life. That includes your perceptions of her. Your needs, your vulnerabilities, your longings. If you don't study them, she will. Not out of malice, but necessity. Just as a river doesn't hate the rock it wears down, a woman does not resent the man she outmaneuvers. She simply follows her design. But are you following yours? Socrates was surrounded by men who misunderstood power, who thought it lived in votes, wealth, and praise. But true power, he knew, belongs to the man who cannot be deceived, especially by what he adores. That's where it begins. You were not created to orbit her. You were made to master yourself. Socrates said the unexamined life is not worth living. The unexamined desire is even more dangerous. Nowhere is desire more disguised than with women. It mimics devotion. It imitates truth. It dances like fate. But it bows to something deeper, survival. Selection. Instinct. You call it love. She calls it timing. In Phaedrus, Socrates warned that love without reason becomes madness. Divine, perhaps, but madness nonetheless. He said, "The soul dragged by lust is like a wingless beast, crawling in circles, obsessed with its craving." How many men now live in that loop? How many have traded mission, values, and self for a whisper, a glance, a fleeting fix of comfort? You are not here to be consumed by the feminine. You are here to comprehend it. Socrates observed that men pursue truth, while women often pursue alignment, not always with truth, but with stability. That is not an insult. It is evolutionary brilliance. But it must be seen. She does not seek what is just. She seeks what ensures survival, strength, rank, and certainty. In her world, intellect does not seduce. Authority does. Direction does. Command does. But if you crown her before you've claimed your own throne, she will never submit. If you place her above your mission, she will test you until you crumble. She's not malicious. She's responsive. She reveals what you show, that your soul is negotiable. Socrates divided the soul into reason, spirit, and appetite. The highest man lets reason lead. But when appetite rules, lust, longing, validation, the man dissolves. He no longer leads. He follows, not her, but his craving for her. You know these men. You've seen them. Men who glow only when she looks. Men who kneel without asking why. Men who betray their code to keep her near. And you, if you stay blind, will become one. Socrates lived among men who confused charisma for character, beauty for goodness, charm for truth. He saw through it all. And when he exposed it, they silenced him. But his voice lives, not for the mob, not for the desperate, but for you, the man who dares to see. He saw that women, by nature, are anchored in the present, emotion, safety, immediacy, while men are cursed, and blessed, with the future. Your mind stretches forward. Your soul aches for meaning. Your bones carry vision. But vision costs. And the feminine offers an elegant escape, to trade it for warmth, ease, and illusion. You must not. Your peace must come from clarity, not her cooperation. She will test your frame. She will reflect your doubt. And if you lack command over self, she will command you. Again, not from cruelty, but instinct. Socrates urged us not to hate the world, but to investigate it. Not to run from what bewilders us, but to light it up. Illuminate her, not with suspicion, but with comprehension. She is not your anchor. She is the tide. Do you see the difference? You must become a philosopher of your own instincts. Socrates warned, more in silence than in speech, that a man's downfall does not stem from the sword or the state, but from the desires he won't dissect. And no desire haunts men more than the pull toward the feminine unknown. The tragedy isn't that you need her. It's that you don't know why. And in that blindness, you crown her, and curse her when she doesn't save you. The truth? She was never built to complete you. She was meant to challenge you. In Gorgias, Socrates shatters the idea that pleasure equals goodness, that what feels right must be right. He dismantles the lie that validation, especially from women, is a sign of worth. And what he uncovers is chilling. Your quest for her approval is not noble. It is evidence of forgotten purpose. You don't need her gaze. You need your spine. Men are not collapsing from lack of talent. They're collapsing from inner disarray. They study her moods better than their own creeds. They speak her scripts and forget their own vows. You think you're romantic. She thinks you've lost your edge. And she's right. She cannot love what she does not revere. And she does not revere what she can steer. Socrates didn't write this in modern language, but his thought reveals it. Harmony is not sameness. It's alignment. A woman doesn't want to lead. She wants to trust your lead. But if you make her your compass, your mirror, your aim, you lose command and become a satellite. She may keep you, but not because she desires to. Because it's useful. And usefulness always has a deadline. The world is full of men who tried to earn her love by bowing. But love isn't won by worship. It's earned through sovereignty. In Meno, Socrates asks if virtue can be taught. But first, he wonders if men even recognize it. Do you? Do you know what masculine virtue is, before offering it? Or have you confused devotion with discipline, passion with principle, obedience with love? She doesn't want you wounded. She doesn't want you weak. She doesn't even want you agreeable. She wants you authentic. And the authentic man doesn't orbit the feminine. He orbits the good, the true, the just, and invites her to join only if she can match the rhythm. When she sees you living by principle, not persuasion, when she sees you speak with precision, lead with direction, and love without losing yourself, she will follow. Not because you asked. Because you earned it. That's the paradox Socrates understood. Power does not come from pursuit. It comes from presence. The moment you stop needing her favor and begin sculpting your essence, not your image, you become untouchable. Not out of armor, but out of integration. Wholeness is man's forgotten fortune. The temples of ancient Athens did not honor comfort. They honored character, etched in marble, tested by fire, whispered by Socrates. Know thyself. Not please her. Not become what she wants. Know. For in knowing, there is authority. And in authority, there is peace. But today, most men are not at peace. They are at war, not with her, but with the lie. That her love will heal them, that her body will steady them, that her smile is proof they matter. That is not love. That is intoxication. And any philosopher will tell you, the intoxicated cannot perceive the real. Socrates spoke of forms, the eternal truths beneath the surface. There is a form of womanhood, as there is of manhood. But modern men chase the shadow, the curves, the charm, the perfume. And they forget to ask. What is this for? What does it protect? What does it consume? She is not wicked. She is optimized. She is not manipulative. She is responsive. She is not broken. She is strategic. She is wired for survival, not yours, but hers. Her instincts outrun your desires. Her clarity outruns your confusion. And when you are lost in longing, she sees it. Your weakness. Socrates never stated it bluntly, but it's there. You are ruled either by thought or by thirst. There is no third realm. The man who falls into her without awareness doesn't become free. He becomes ensnared, smiling, but drowning. And what is his fate? To blame her for the tide he never trained for. But the man who trains in reason, who questions his cravings, who exposes illusion before it seduces, that man doesn't drown. He sails. She respects him, not for cruelty, but for clarity. In Symposium, Socrates recalls Diotima, a woman who taught that love is a ladder, from one body, to all beauty, to wisdom, to the divine. Most men never ascend. They rot on the first rung. Lost in pleasure, never seeing where it pointed. But not you. You rise. She is the question, not the answer. She is the gate, not the realm. She is the wind. You are the sail. Your strength is not in dominating her. It's in transcending the need for her to define you. Let her remain mystery. Let her remain paradox. Let her remain woman. But you, be man. In the Socratic sense, tested, refined, unwavering, not swayed by flattery, not broken by silence, not blinded by beauty. This is your path. This is your dignity. And dignity is not given. It is earned, in solitude, in self-rule, in the darkness when no one sees. That is where Socrates would have you build. Not in her embrace, but in your essence. The man who depends on her warmth is a man without fire. The man who sacrifices principle to keep her near will eventually collapse. And she will not gather the pieces, not in cruelty, but in instinct. Because even she seeks the man who doesn't need her, but selects her, knowing full well what she is and isn't. She is not your therapist. She is not your savior. She is not your mirror. You want to be seen? Then stand where few dare. In solitude. In discipline. In mastery, without needing eyes upon you. Socrates said, "The shortest and surest way to live with honor is to be what we appear to be." And what do you appear to be? Strong. Grounded. Desired. Noble. But will you become it? Do not chase her attention, cultivate presence. Do not chase her body, discipline your hunger. Do not chase her love, stand in your truth, and let her choose. This is the examined life, not only in thought, but in instinct. Not just in theory, but in reaction. Not merely in ideas, but in posture when confronted with temptation, rejection, beauty. Because that moment, when she tests you, pulls away, withholds, is the sacred space. That is the forge. That is where men surrender their crowns. But not you. You stand. You remain. You lead with reason. You see, she is not the threat. She is the signal. If her absence unravels you, the crack was already within. If her silence breaks you, it echoes your own. Do not blame her design. Understand it. Respect it. Do not yield to it. She is wind. You are the mast. You do not curse the wind. You adjust your sail. That is manhood, not control, but constancy. This is the secret they won't teach you. This is the message Socrates embedded in every paradox, every question, every quiet defiance. Be unmoved. And when you are unmoved, she will feel it, not with fear, but with awe. And she will know. This man does not shift. And when she knows you do not shift, she will respond as her nature compels. She will align. Not from weakness, but recognition. Not as a reward, but as a response. Because women don't fall for men. They align with them. They reflect strength, not sympathy. They move to rhythm, not persuasion. They seek fire, not the flicker, but the enduring flame. Socrates would never have begged for devotion. He would have become the kind of man to whom devotion is the only logical outcome. Because he knew. What is rooted leads what flows. And you, man, are not meant to chase waves. You are meant to shape the shore. The world will say, soothe her. Surrender. Adjust. But your soul was etched with an ancient law. Do not bend, unless it is your will.